In May 1469, Charles the Bold, Duke of Burgundy, was staying in his castle in Kortrijk in Flanders. The ambassadors of the Pope, of French King Louis XI, and of Poland and Venice were also present. The accounts list what kind of food was consumed at the court on 26 May 1469. As it was a Friday, a day on which Christians were not allowed to eat meat, there was a lot of fish on the table. First, a few disclaimers. Spelling was not uniform, and I'm not a biologist or culinary expert, so I may have labeled some items incorrectly. Also keep in mind that measurements were not standardized like today, and each region had their own system, simply speaking. 82 dozen of white loaves of bread. It's not specified how big these were. 78 dozen pain bis façon d'oubli. Pain bis was bread made of light brown flour, and façon d'oubli meant it was in the form of thin waffles, like wafers. 2 lots of mustard. A lot is a type of jar for liquids. In Kortrijk, this would have corresponded to about 2.2 liters. The accounts were done by the ducal staff, so I don't know if they use their own jars or local jars. Anyway, 8 pounds of fresh butter. A pound was a bit less than half a kilo. 8 pounds of fine sugar, the 3 cuit, or 3 times cooked. Sugar was made from sugarcane, and 3 times cooked means it was high quality. This sugar was used in the wafers. Next, the wine. Charles the Bold wasn't much of a wine drinker and usually drank water with just a bit of wine added to it. That doesn't mean nobody got wine. Even children got watered down wine in those days. The accounts list the amount of wine that was served, but it's not easy to define exactly how much it was in modern terms due to regional differences. Wine was measured in muds and settiers in the accounts. It's very difficult to put a measurement to this, and there are plenty of articles about it, but they all say something different. According to an article by Monique Sommet about Burgundian wine measurements during the time of Philip the Good, a mud in bone was roughly about 200 liters and contained roughly 12 settiers. In Flanders, a mud could be about 250 liters, but in another article, a mud could be 120 liters. In ducal Burgundy, a mud was 12 settiers. 3 types of wine are mentioned in the accounts for that day. 3 muds of wine of bone, which would have been very fine wine. 8 settiers of vin de garnison, which meant in this case, I think, wine from the stock. 4 muds and 3 settiers of other wine from the stock. Then the following foods were provided from the kitchen. A carreau or a crucian carp. 6 pikes cut in pieces. 8 other pikes which were cut up. 28 lancerons, which is a sort of pike. A carp cut to pieces. 6 round carps. 21 kitchen carps, which apparently is a carp of at least 5 years old. A large bream. A large vandoise, which is a common dace. 10 medium breams. 2 roasted eels. 1300 herrings, 56 cods, 48 pairs of soles. I'm not sure why they mentioned pairs, maybe they meant the fillets. 54 flat fish like plaice. A fromage de service, which is maybe a cheese board, I'm not sure, and the type of cheese is also not specified. Then there was a fish pie for the Duke and 20 others for the chamberlains. I'm not sure why the one for the Duke is mentioned separately, maybe it was of nicer quality. 2 quarters of flour, no idea how much this was. Soup, salt, 12 lots of milk, herbs and currants, apples for cooking, 24 pounds of butter, 20 lots of verjuice and vinegar, greens, tablecloths, round wood and chopped wood. I assume this was for the fireplaces. 5 huts of charcoal. A hut or Dutch hoed is a measure for dry materials, and this was about 170 liters. Half a pound of saffron, 21 pounds of fine sugar from Portugal. And lastly, etc. This means that not everything is listed individually in the accounts. The total expense for the day was 267 pounds, 9 sols and 5 deniers au bol. A pound was 20 sols and 240 deniers. To give you an idea how much this was, we can compare it to the wages paid for that day. According to the accounts, the responsible for the bread that day was Simon de Loge, and his wage was 9 sols. Le Philosophe, I think this was the fool, earned 3 sols. Jacques Rollin, son of Antoine, and a cousin of Argent, earned 18 sols, same as Philippe de Comines. The biggest wage was for Jacques de Luxembourg, who earned 4 pounds, 7 sols and 8 deniers.